Hi, this is Chad Carson. I'm going to show you what I do with my year-end review. What this is sort of at the end of the year, typically in December, maybe early December, maybe late December. I have a 2 or 3 day period where I go over both what happened in the last year and also kind of looking forward to the next year and making goals and plans. And so I'm just going to show you sort of the outline of what I do and why I do it. It's something I've been an entrepreneur for 15 years, and probably the number one habit that's helped me kind of go from this vision of what you want to do and the goals you want to accomplish to actually being able to consistently hit those goals has been this year-end review process. So let me show you kind of the steps I take. I start with preparation. First I go over last year, then I start looking at next year, then I create sort of a plan based on what I'm thinking about doing next year, and then I bring it all the way back down to some next actions. So let me tell you just a little bit about each one of these. Preparation is pretty simple. Some of the main things I would say is just make sure you schedule it. I mentioned it's 2 or 3 days. The end of the year is a great time to do this because it's a little bit quieter anyway. You're kind of wrapping down your goals. Maybe you have some quiet time during the holidays potentially. So schedule some time, and when you have no distractions, that's the key. So turn off your cell phone, turn off the notifications, turn off the internet on your laptop if you're using your laptop. The key is no distractions because you really need some time to reflect and concentrate. And in terms of resources, I have a pad like this, like a drawing pad. If you have a notebook paper, that's fine. I typically have, I'm old school, so I have my organizer like this. So, pull out your calendar. If you have a digital calendar, use that. Something that you're going to be able to look and write stuff down. And if you happen to have somewhere where you wrote down your goals the year before, I have things like this. This is from a couple years ago. I have a spreadsheet, which I'm actually going to put in the description of the video, that I'll pull out so I can review what happened. This is mine. I do a lot of mind maps, as you can tell, kind of drawing here. So that's what my goals are for this year. But the key is just have those so you can review them and look at them. So that's preparation. When you finally sit down and you have your time, your quiet time, the key is to start off looking at last year. And I sort of look at it 2 different ways. I look at the things that went well and the things that didn't go so well, and I learn from both of those. So here are a few questions, just if you're looking to figure out what you might ask yourself during that time. For the things that went well, first question I ask is what went well. So out of all the things in your life, so business, personal, exercise, whatever the things that you're trying to accomplish, what went well last year? What are you happy about? And are there any goals that you actually met? So if you did well last year, sometimes I know I'm guilty of this. You work, and you try to accomplish things, and then at the end you typically focus on the things you did not do. And this is a time to celebrate a little bit. You can say, what went well? What am I happy about? What goals did I meet? And importantly, what lessons did you learn from those things? If things went well, what lessons? What did you do well? What actions did you take? What habits did you have that maybe you should double down on? So many times we're trying to change the things that we're doing to try to do something different. Well, maybe you're doing something really well, and you need to 80-20 that and do 80% of your time on that thing that went well and just double down, go all in on that. And so this would be a great time to think about what those actions, those habits, those things that you're doing that are working really well. So then I switch to the other mode, which is what did not go well. And I might just take a big piece of paper like this and just brainstorm. And if I have my goal sheet, like I showed you a little bit earlier, I'll go through each one of those to kind of jog my memory about which things didn't go well, what goals did I not meet, and what am I not happy about. So just the opposite of the other one. And again, though, the key is what lessons did I learn from all of that. So if you consistently don't hit your goals, or you consistently don't achieve things that you're telling yourself you want to do, and you don't think about why it is, then you're really missing a golden opportunity. I used to play football, and one of the most important things we did was watch film at every single practice and every single game. I mean, it was really torturous sometimes when your coach would show you over and over again screwing up, but you learn a lot of lessons when you do this kind of game film. So that's really what this is. You're doing game film on what went well, what went wrong. So then, once you've kind of spent some time on that, now you shift to next year and you start thinking about what are the goals or categories that I want to accomplish things. And however you do goals, I know it's a very personal kind of approach. I'll just tell you what I do. I have categories for all my goals, and they kind of shift from year to year, but they're typically things like, I might have like money kind of goals. Maybe I want to save a certain amount. I want to earn a certain amount, certain investment returns. So those might be some goals you have. I like to have goals in family. So the amount of I'm taking a trip right now in Ecuador, so that was a big goal for our family. You might also have this kind of little more smaller goals, like I want to spend a certain amount of time every week doing certain things with my family. I want to have certain kind of activities I do. You might have exercise. I call it in some kind of personal goals. And I've also really, lately, in the last few years, really gotten a lot out of having outreach goals. So are there things that, and this could be within your business, this could be outside your business, where you're thinking about what kind of contributions can I make, and set goals for those as well. And I like the balance of this. You have your money, you have your family, personal and exercise. Personal could be like little things like maybe you're into meditation or having quiet time or reading a certain number of books or learning a new language. For me, that was Spanish. I was improving my Spanish this year. And you also have career goals. And so I have two kind of main businesses for me. I have my real estate business, and I have my teaching and coaching business, Coach Carson. And so I'll have certain goals. Like, for example, in coaching, I've always had a goal of writing a certain number of articles, or reaching a certain number of subscribers on my list. So things like that. You can each one of those, think about what's important to you. And as you go through those categories and try to find some balance, then you want to have maybe one or two goals per category. And that typically works for me. So you've gotten those written down. You can do a little mind map like I do. You can do a spreadsheet, and you've gotten those one or two goals per category. Now here's the important part, because you've probably done that before. You've probably done some kind of goal setting. But I think the key that a lot of people miss is going and creating a plan to do that. Plans are kind of ironic, because often the plan you make isn't the one that actually works out. It's not the one you follow, because you pivot and you change and reality changes. But actually creating a plan is super important. And the thing I like to start with is kind of looking at the gap. So is there some kind of gap between where you are now and where you're trying to go? So where your goal is. What's interesting is that gap. And so if you have an enormous gap, a huge gap, you need to break this down. And that's the key step. You need to break up your goal into miniature steps. And I love the analogy. I watched a video one time or it's actually an idea in the book, The One Thing by Gary Keller, is domino your goals. I hope I can spell domino. Is that the right way to spell it? Okay. You domino your goals. And so the idea is you have these like really big goals here. And then the way dominoes work is you could set up, this is not going to work very well, this picture, but you could set up all dominoes all the way to this tiny little domino. And if you knock that little tiny domino over, eventually the momentum will carry it and knock over the big goal. And so the way dominoes work in your goals is you break it down. Think about that big goal. If you want to make $100,000 in a year, break that down all the way to, what's the next little project I can do this week? And that's really what you want to get to with your plan. You can kind of, get out another blank sheet of paper, write the goal at the top of the page, break it down, say, what are the steps I think I need to take to get there? And really the most important one are those next projects. And I call projects anything that kind of just takes multiple steps. And so, right when you get to those next projects, that's the key part of your plan, is that you've written down those dominoes, and then you circle the next projects, and you said, all right, that's what I got to work on. And you do that for every one of your goals. And actually, on my goal sheet, we'll often have what are the first things I need to do, and you can check those off the list. So I really like that idea. And then finally, when I get to the end of my planning, I've got all these kind of goals and projects written down, and I want to take it all the way down to what are the actions I can do consistently to reach that goal. And I'll give you an example. I've often had in my real estate business the goal of buying good deals, of buying good properties. Maybe if you're investing, that's kind of something you do as well. Well, you really, that's not something you can do right now. As a domino, that's kind of a big domino. That might be a couple months out, it might be a year out. And so what do? I like to break that down and say, what is the habit or the consistent thing I can do every single week? And for me, it's often been, I need to send out marketing. I need to make offers. And so I make my goal, the thing I focus on, is I focus all the way into the final step, is the action I want to measure on a weekly basis is how much marketing I'm sending out, how many offers I'm making. Now, making an offer isn't buying a property, but that's what I found to be the crucial step I have to do. And so when I'm buying a lot of properties, I'll kind of work it backwards and say, for one property, maybe I need to make 30 offers. And so if I make 10 offers a week, I'll potentially get a deal in 3 weeks. And so that's how you break it down. And then you figure out on a daily basis, a weekly basis, what you can do to consistently make that a habit. And maybe you schedule it in your day instead of, you schedule doctor's appointments, so why wouldn't you schedule the time you send out your marketing or the time you research deals and make offers? So that's one example. You can do that with anything. I do it with my writing. I do it with creating videos like this. So whatever your goal is, break it down to the next action and turn it into something you can do next week or the beginning of the year if you're doing all this at the beginning of the year. So I hope that's been helpful for you. That's just my little process for going from reviewing last year, looking at next year's goals, creating a plan, dominoing all those goals, and then going all the way to the next action. And if you put together a bunch of next actions, I'm pretty sure, and you're also flexible, so you're flexible with your actions, you change things as they stop working and kind of pivot all throughout the year, then the natural result is you're going to achieve a lot of the things you wanted to achieve at the beginning of the year. So I hope that's been helpful for you. Let me know in the comments if that's something that is helpful, or if you have some other ideas. And if you like this channel, I'm trying to do more videos this year like this. If you like this format and if you'd like to see more, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That'll help encourage me to know that people are out there wanting to listen to this and to see more. So hope you have a great day. Thank you for your time.